I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. So today I'm going to be addressing a really common question that I get, which is kind of around the idea of how to be consistent in your business, like how to motivate yourself to continue to show up, to continue to stay committed to your plan, and really build that consistency in your business. Because I think being consistent with a very simple plan of putting value and offers out into the world for people to see is how you make money. It's how you get clients. And there are a lot of people who really struggle with the idea of consistency. So this episode is for you. What's kind of funny is that I think of myself now as somebody who's like very self-disciplined and very consistent most of the time. But if I really actually look back in my past, I can find a lot of evidence for both things. I can find a lot of evidence for not being consistent and a lot of evidence for being consistent. And it seems kind of random, the things that I'm really consistent about, when I'm consistent about them. I don't really believe in habits, at least for myself. Like there could for sure be a day that I just stop doing that and like never do it again. Whatever that habit was, like I am the kind of person who I feel like I have to have like a warning for this because some of you are going to not enjoy hearing about this. But I'm the kind of person who likes to take a different way to drive every time. Even like without a map, just I'm going to like figure it out. I'm the kind of person who enjoys going to like a different grocery store every time and like being a little lost. I know that that may sound really weird. I used to think like everybody liked this kind of variety, and then I learned, no, this is very upsetting to most people, the way that I like to operate. I also, like my favorite thing in the world, rearranging furniture. The feeling I get of like creativity when things are different in a space, it just feels so good. So I have been the kind of person who is not super consistent. Like there's some things that I'm like really, really good at, and some things that I'm just not. I think that I've shared before, like this podcast, I've just been so impressed with myself that I have been consistent with it for all these years. I've never missed a week ever. There was 1 week last year where I was in the hospital and couldn't record, and my team still put together an episode because they were on board with my never miss a week. It's like a non-negotiable. I just don't ever miss it. So I can be super consistent about things. I can be super inconsistent with other things. And I'm not a habit person. So for those of you who feel a little angry at me when I say consistency is important, I get you. I am you. And I've also learned how to be consistent where it matters. And I think I have a lot to offer you on this topic. Whether you struggle with it or not, I think everyone struggles with consistency on some level, because truly, consistency will come from your thinking. So for a lot of you, if you're like super consistent in other areas of your life and not with your business, it's because you have some thoughts about your business and what you're capable of in your business. It doesn't make sense to be consistent about making offers and posting on social media and all of that if you don't believe it's actually going to work. So that's step one, right? Really figuring out, why am I resisting being consistent? Is it because I don't really believe it's going to work? And if that's the problem, let's work on that. Let's coach you up on that thought. Let's move you past that. But there are those of you who just are like a little rebellious. And what came up for me recently, I can't remember now. I think it was like a friend of mine brought up Gretchen Rubin's The Four Tendencies. And she was talking about the four tendencies, which I am familiar with. And this was crazy. I had never taken the test. I had read the descriptions and I was like, oh, I'm for sure the like internal motivation person. So if you're not familiar with the four tendencies, it's this theory, philosophy that Gretchen Rubin, who is an author, has come up with, that people are internally motivated. They motivate themselves from within. They are externally motivated, like they need outside accountability to follow through, or they are both, or they are neither. And I really thought that I had the internal accountability. Like I thought I was that person where I was like, if it is important to me, if I believe in it, then I'm going to do it. And then I took the quiz a couple weeks ago and my mind was blown to discover I'm the rebel who has neither. Neither internal or external accountability. And I was like, what? But I am consistent at some things. I do follow through at some things, and sometimes I don't. So I had not seen myself as a rebel. I had this like idea like, oh, rebels, they're very self-sabotagey and like all these things. And then it was like the mirror was put up to me and I was like, oh, okay, that's actually me. I'm the rebel. But as I discovered that, then I thought this is amazing because I think I have clients who are this way as well. And I've really figured out how to be very disciplined on things that matter. So I think what you have probably heard me say multiple times already is things that matter. So this kind of leads into the 3 ways to create motivation for yourself. So I have a lot of clients who get very motivated in bursts. And I think this is normal. Like, I don't even want to say I have a lot of clients who, like, just in general, people are this way. I'm this way, like, rearrange the furniture and I am motivated with a burst of inspiration, right? So those types of things, like creating change, for me is something that is very motivating. I know it is for a lot of you, like change your offer, sign up for a new social media platform, create a new website, whatever it is, like suddenly you have this burst of excitement when you change a circumstance in your business. Now, this really leads to shiny object syndrome. This is not great. And this really slows down momentum and consistency in your business when you're making changes all the time. The compound effect is like taking the same small step over and over time, and it builds like a snowball. So let's like imagine that we're making a snowman. We're starting to make a snowman and we like roll it a couple of times and then we're like, actually, I want to make a snow angel. So then we lay down and like flap our arms once and then we're like, no, actually, I want to make hot chocolate. And then we run inside and we start heating up water. But before we do it, then we decide to make another thing, right? It's like not seeing any of the things all the way through. So you never do any of those things. You never make the snowman or the hot chocolate or the snow angel because you keep stopping a couple of steps into the process. So you have to stop shiny object. You have to stop changing circumstances in your business to create motivation. It just doesn't work. So here's the answer, because I think some of you right now are like, oh, that is what I've been doing in my business. I have been ditching the snow angel and the snowman and the hot cocoa for the next exciting thing. So if that's you, here are 3 ways that you can motivate yourself besides changing circumstances and running around frantically trying to chase excitement and motivation. You can create it right now with these 3 things. First, your self-concept. Your self-concept is just your thoughts about yourself. Like the way that you see yourself, what you choose to think about yourself. Most of us have a default self-concept. It's just the automatic thoughts. Most of them have been given to you by other people. So if you think about like, what did your teachers say about you? What did your parents say about you? Your grandparents, your siblings, your friends? When you were a kid, your self-concept is probably all of those thoughts jumbled together. Like that's your self-concept that was given to you by other people. But what I teach my clients is to create an intentional self-concept where they actually decide, this is what I want to think about myself. And that's informed by the long-term vision and goals they have for their business. So in Simple Scaling Mastermind, most of my clients in there are building towards $1 million businesses. So I have them think, what would you be thinking about yourself with a $1 million business? How do you see that version of yourself? Those thoughts are pieces of your intentional self-concept right now. So you can motivate yourself with a self-concept, with the stories you tell yourself about yourself. So remember, I've had this self-concept for a long time about being somebody who's disciplined. And that actually comes from my stepmom. My stepmom would tell me, like, you're so self-disciplined. I don't know why she thought that. Truly, I have no clue where that came from. But she would just like tell me all the time, you're so self-disciplined. You have like such internal motivation and follow through. And because I had that as part of my self-concept, sometimes I acted that way. So I think having this idea of this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what a successful CEO does, this is what $1 million CEO does, 100K CEO, this is what the version of me that makes 5K months does. Like really think about that self-concept and seeing yourself as the type of person who does that. Like I see myself as the type of person who has no excuses, always has a podcast episode out every week on the same day. That's just who I am. That's just what I do. And even when I'm in the hospital, I've built up such a non-negotiable around this that my team still makes sure that it's who I am and what I do. So cool, right? So think about your self-concept, that intentional self-concept of the stories that you tell yourself about yourself and how you can use that to motivate you to follow through, to behave the way that you want to behave. The next way to motivate yourself is your why. Now, this is when earlier I was saying about the things that I really want to do, the things that are really essential and important for me. So you really want to know, when it comes to things for your business, why is this important to me? I coach my clients on this all the time. When they're like, I want to be active on Instagram, or I want to start Clubhouse, or whatever the shiny object is, we get really clear on why. Why is this important to me? How is this going to support me towards my goals and the big vision that I have for my business? I think it's so crucial to ask yourself this question. So many people are out there building a business and just like doing stuff on a to-do list and never questioning why. I want you to know exactly why. Everything on your to-do list, if you have one, or everything on your calendar, if that's what you use, whatever it is, all the things you're doing, I want you to know why you are doing each one. This will completely transform the way that you spend your time in your business if you let it. If you really take this to heart and ask yourself, why am I doing these things? What are they leading to? How do I know that they're leading to it? If you are in Mama to CEO, you have been indoctrinated in this way of approaching your business. Your simple marketing plan, your simple client funnel, all of those things. Every single thing that you have learned from me in Mama to CEO has been supporting meaningful activities on your to-do list? So if you're not in Mama to CEO, this is a really important question because most people aren't teaching this. Most people are talking about the how and the action steps to take and are not having you thoughtfully evaluate and consider, are these leading to the results I want? And most people aren't having you create a plan for your business with the intended results in mind. That's one of the ways I'm really different from a lot of the other coaches out there, that it's so important for me to have you start with where you want to go and work backwards from there instead of just like doing the right things. I think so many of you who struggle with consistency because deep down, you know the things you're trying to be consistent about don't matter. Even if it's something that I do or that works for me or that works for somebody else, it may not be the thing that matters most for your business right now. So I think it's more important to be clear on your goal and what's going to move you closer to your goal than to just follow what the experts are doing or what they're saying to do as far as like the actions and the how. Final thing to motivate yourself with, and this one's really fun, especially for those of you who are like super rebels. This is your uniqueness. I think we can get so much energy from thinking about how unique we are. And I know that there's some of you who don't think you're unique at all, and I would love for you to just throw that in the trash because I used to think that all the time as well. And then I just decided to think that I was unique, and now I feel like, oh, there's so many weird things about me. There's so many unique things about me. And it's truly all from my thinking, right? Like, do we really have to split hairs about like, can you prove that you're 76% unique in a court of law? Who cares? Like, no one cares. There's no one who's going to be hunting you down and making you prove that your thoughts are true with empirical evidence. So just like let that go and step into this place where you're willing to see yourself as unique. And then I want you to think like, this sets me apart. No one else in the industry is doing this. I am doing this in a completely new way. And then more, I'm sure there's other thoughts that you can think of that really cultivate that feeling of being unique, that will really get you excited about your business and what you're offering. I know for me, I used to look at the things that I do differently from other people as things that were wrong about me. So I'm like really freakishly efficient in my business. Like I get work done so fast. I can get so many things done. And like I can write an email sequence so fast. And I would hear from like my coach and other people like how long it would take them to do stuff. And I'd be like, shoot, am I doing this wrong? Like, am I not doing a good enough job? Am I not doing this right? And when I learned about human design, I realized the type that I am, a projector, is here to show other people another way of doing things and lead the way on like a more efficient, better way to do things. And when I learned that, it was like I saw myself in a completely new light for the first time. I realized that is what has really been going on. Every time I've been telling myself that maybe I'm doing it wrong or I'm missing something or I'm not doing it good enough or as good as other people, I'm actually just incredibly efficient. And I can learn from how I do things. I can study how I do things. And I can teach that to my students to make their life easier. And because I work specifically with moms and their businesses, I can help moms who have a lot of other things on their plate, have so many other things going on for them, I can help them to make a lot of money in less time because they don't have more time to give, and they think that they have to wait to make money until they have more time. So I think that's my story of uniqueness, right? But you have yours too. You have those things about you that you don't really want people to know, you feel kind of bad about, you think are wrong. And I want you to find those things, and I want you to figure out how those things are actually part of your genius, part of your gift, and part of the uniqueness that you have to offer in the world. All right. I have just given you 3 super powerful tools for motivation and being consistent. So go on out there and spread your message to the world. Get those clients, make that money, and work with who you already are to make that happen. All right, I will talk to you next week. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.